The F-16A Netz finally got the 180 countermeasures that it should have gotten a while ago, and all you need to do is shell out 80 bucks for it. This is the F-16A Netz, which at 12.7 is exactly what you expect. You have a plane with an incredible airframe, one of the best in the entire game, paired with 6 very strong IR missiles that don't have IR CCM, and at 12.7 basically every game is going to be 13.0 and at least half your games are going to be 13.7. And when you are on a plane that only has IR missiles, especially without IR CCM, you are going to struggle in the Fox 1 / sometimes even Fox 3 meta because you have zero presence whatsoever. You need to sneak up on people, you need to be a rat, and you really need to just catch people off guard. If people are aware of you, your missiles are not gonna do anything. And in the early stages, this is a particularly big issue. This is the most important stage of these matches. And in these stages, you are literally useless. You cannot fire anything in the head-on. Well, you can, but they will probably flare it or they will dodge your gun. So what I advise you to do is try to get some altitude, hang back, bait missiles out, and then attack the furball once it starts developing. Now the issue is that you have a very small time window and you can't really navigate the map freely. You have no presence, you're constantly on the defensive because you can't really contest in these head-on engagements, and thus you really have to just wait for an opening and then slip into it and try to get as many kills as quickly as you can. Now this is the average kind of gameplay loop. What I personally did is I went to control altitude at the very start and I'm just baiting out missiles. I do this in the full up tiers. I fly in, I wait as long as possible, I just kind of go cold, and I try to bait as many Fox 3s out as I possibly can. Then we start to go under control altitude, and we start bouncing on the smaller furballs or the people that aren't really paying attention. You really need to sneak up on people, and if you get caught at high altitude by something like a MiG-29 with the ERs, you are probably just going to get clapped. So you really need to position yourself properly and you have to wait for openings in the match. And this is very difficult to do. And if you are looking for a premium plane to pick up and simply play and grind with, I don't really recommend this thing. I mean, I don't recommend many planes that are worth this much money because it, quite frankly, isn't worth this much money. But a plane like this is very much not noob friendly. So if you think, well, I'm buying an F-16 because it's a good plane, and it is, just to get free and easy grinding, you're kind of in the wrong place. This is not a noob friendly plane whatsoever when it comes to the average match experience. However, there is an other side of this coin, and that is that the flight performance is absolutely incredible. If you are in a 1v1, you can win against almost everything. Granted, they want to actually fight you. A lot of planes can simply hold you at arm's length, shoot you with radar missiles, and you're probably gonna lose a lot of energy while doing this, and they might be able to pounce you. But almost nothing that you can run into, bar something like a Gripen, which is basically on par with you, you are going to absolutely rinse in a dogfight. And that is the beauty of this plane. Now at the start here, you saw I'm holding back, I'm trying to keep their missiles at arm's length, I'm trying to bait missiles out, and then once my team starts kind of merging on the deck, I'm gonna be sure to be there, because I need to be there right now to support them, because these are the only instances in the match where my presence actually means anything. And you can tell I'm a little bit too late, my team is doing a little bit too well, which means that I get literally nothing done. This is how small the time frame is. Now in this case it didn't really matter because we're gonna win the furball anyway, and I come in a little bit later. Now I come in from altitude, so these guys are probably not gonna be looking at me. First guy doesn't see me, wait for the second missile to pass, shoot another Python 3, F-18 sees it last second, he flares it, and that is all she wrote. Now we're gonna take a shot at him, we're gonna miss the easiest shot in the world, and for now, I'm just gonna be leaving. It looks like I'm running from the 1v1 with the F-18, and I am, but that's because I know there is like 2 or 3 guys directly behind him. I can tell by my RWR, I know where my teammates just died, so I'm just gonna kind of fly away for a little bit and reassess the situation. Now you see that I'm running 2 fuel tanks with min fuel in the plane. This is very conscious because I want to be able to loiter around at the start of the game, But then, when I do need to, I want to drop all my fuel and be able to compete in a dogfight. And that's what we are going to try to do right here. Now, it's a little bit of extending, because I'm waiting for everyone to show up. F-18 is behind us. I'm not really too worried about him. He pulls a lot of AOA. He can be very dangerous in the one-circle fight. And he's going to be really annoying when there's multiple people around. So I'm just going to try to gather them all in one place. And then I'm going to try to dogfight them all at the same time. F-15 shows up. I now know where he is. Another missile comes off the rails right behind him. So I'm going to try to put the missile in between. But the F-15 kind of notices and pulls out of the way. And I take this as my cue. I'm going to start turning in. I have a little bit of terrain here. Even I can't call this a mountain. But I'm going to use it regardless. We drop the fuel tanks and we start to merge. Now we're going to start off with a multi-pad, try to stay low, try to dodge as many missiles in the early stage here as possible, because all I can really do is stay on the defensive. Another AIM-7 flies my way, he's going to hit the ground in front of us, and now we're in the perfect location to just spray in the head-on and hope that he doesn't pull out. He's going to be a proud father in a minute. We are going to turn around and try to do the same thing to the F-15. But the F-15 has more energy, he's in a better position, and I'm not going to pull into the missile if I don't need to. Multi-pad it into a tree, we go under him, we pull up over him and try to drop directly behind him. And this would have been completely fine if it wasn't for the rest of his squad rolling up. So we dive away, we try to pick up a little bit of speed, we go into a slight notch. It's not really to notch the missile, but simply to make it lead into the ground. They take down the F-15, thank you very much, and we go into the multi-pad yet again. Missile hits the ground, F-18 overshoots, and the F-14 puts himself in a position where I can very easily line it up. Take his wing apart, F-18 is going too fast, he is compressing, and at high speed, that thing doesn't pull that much AOA, it actually compresses a decent amount, and for some reason, the F-18 has a very hard time flaring anything. At least that has been my experience with it. In these kind of engagements, the F-16A has a very good flight model. The issue is again that you can't really pressure in the head-on, and if all of those guys had just dodged the head-ons, I would have done literally nothing, other than maybe the F-14. But you get my point. The airframe is there, the kit simply isn't, due to the fact that you have no actual presence. So we're gonna take a look at the next game, where we're gonna do essentially the exact same thing. We start off by baiting out all of their missiles, but I'm gonna save you the hassle of watching me do that, as it's the exact same every time. You just kind of go left or right, you wait for the missiles to launch, and then you turn right or left, depending on where you turned first. Now, we are in the middle of the map on our side, and we're just kind of looking for people that are flying underneath us. These are the most opportune targets, and these are the least likely to actually spot you when you shoot a missile at them. So we shoot a missile at this F-18, he decides to flare it because he goes head on with the Su-33. A little bit annoying, but you know, what can you do about it? And we're gonna try to get onto his 6. We have Mudbug over here, and we are within range, so I'm just gonna shoot at him, because I know that F-18s struggle with flaring any IR missile, and I'm not sure if it's in the code, if it's cope, but it's from both sides. Now this guy only pops one flare, so obviously that's not going to be enough to fool a Python 3, but I've experienced where I'm pre-flaring, I drop like 15 to 20 flares to pre-flare, and he just locks me with a Python 3, an AIM-9L, a missile without IRCCM. I'm cutting to like 80% throttle, I'm maneuvering, I'm flaring it like an AIM-9M for example. It doesn't matter what I do, it very often just likes to fly through. So I just shoot at F-18s now, and very often it ends up in a kill. Even when they're doing the right thing, unlike the guy that I just killed. F-14 coming in, he just killed my buddy in the Su-33. And what are we gonna do? We're gonna dogfight him. We're alone on this side of the map. And I'm just gonna merge with him. I don't want to fly directly at him. I'm gonna wait for him to get a little bit closer. And once I notice that he isn't firing any missiles at me, I pull in for a straight head-on. And we should win this fight relatively easily. Now I go a little bit too fast and I almost cook myself. So we roll under his nose, we cut the throttle for a second. And at this point he should overshoot relatively easily. Now we shoot over him there. I'm not entirely sure how I managed to miss that. And I'm speaking about myself, severe skill issue. I'm not sure how that happened. Here I just don't have the nose authority to get my nose on, but it doesn't matter, because the F-14 stands no chance against a min-fuel F-16. We set him on fire. I wanted to make sure to double tap him just to make sure that I get the kill, because I didn't want it to get stolen. But there were no teammates left, because we are alone on the map. Now, This end of the game is a little bit of a meme. Now this guy's gonna shoot all of his missiles at us. And I'm not really worried because I can just kind of go left and then go right, and all the missiles are gonna have to curve in. And they're gonna not hit directly underneath me, making it a little bit safer. I can tell that the last one there almost blows me up. And for now, I'm just gonna keep on flying straight. The F-15 is landing, the J-37 is taking off, so I'm actually just gonna strafe them both. Not my issue that you land in front of me, that is on you. Hit the first guy with the missile, gun the second guy out of the air, and now I can partake in the 1v1 with the F-14. So what do? We try to stay as close to the F-15 as possible, because he is 100% going to be repairing. So I just try to stay above him to make sure that he can't just pitch up and launch missiles at us. We merge with the F-14. I know that he doesn't have any missiles left, so I don't have to be as defensive this time around. And I get onto his 6 almost instantaneously. Now he is going a little bit fast still, because I bled a little bit too much speed. But I'm also not too worried. The F-15 is still on the ground, and I can just kind of take my time on this guy's 6. I want to make sure that I don't spray all my ammo away, because there is another guy on the ground that's about to take off, and I'm not going to lose the game because I run out of munition. Shoot a missile to make sure that he actually starts rolling a little bit. We get behind him. F-15 is now taking off directly below us, but because he is directly below us, he still needs to do a full 90-degree pull-up, for which he doesn't have the energy right now. So I just kind of loop on over, and because I'm on top with less fuel, I just kind of cut in instantly. We gun him down, 3 rounds left, and this is exactly why I say base AA is a bad thing. You risk the landing to get more fuel, to repair, to get more missiles, and you can't call it a free kill, and it kinda is, but if you are able to take less fuel to have a performance advantage, shoot more missiles because you don't have to care as much about how many you have left over because you're going to get more of them. This is risk reward, and I risked staying in the air, I risked running out of ammo because I almost did, in order to clutch up that match, to have a performance advantage at the end. And they risked trying to get more ammo, more fuel, and it didn't pay off. And being able to just stay in your AA bubble to nullify that entire risk and basically just rearm and refuel for free, and thus have the advantage throughout the entire match, because even taking off, it takes like 30 seconds to go Mach 1, and at that point, you're basically literally up to speed again. So where is the dynamic? That F-14 would have shot 8 of his missiles at me, would have turned around, sit in his AA, AIM-120s would be slung out by that F-15, by the J-37, and I have no counterplay. I have to wait for them to get to me, and I just run out of fuel. And then you can say it's risk reward because you decided to attack them on the runway, and you can go that way, but we all know that at the start of the game, people already just hightail it to the runway because they don't know what to do, and that just ruins the entire dynamic. How often in props does it happen where you engage a guy, you out dogfight him, and he just dives to the airfield first thing, despite it being the middle of the game, and you are flying in the middle of the map? How does this promote good gameplay? But I'm not gonna rant about it anymore. We all know my stance on AA, and presumably you guys are probably gonna have a bit of the same opinion considering you're this far into the video. But I just think that AA absolutely breaks this game up in the worst way possible. And do I agree that waiting for people to land in orbit and just kind of camping the enemy airfield and just getting your free kills, that is scummy, I agree. But it's equally scummy to just sit in the AA and let the game play itself for you. You can play around not having the land. You can be more resourceful with your ammo, with your fuel. You can try to not get damaged, play better, and in this way you don't have to land. And that is in your control. You cannot control your enemy running to the airfield at every opportunity that they get until they have literally every advantage. But enough of that. Let's take a look at the last guy here. We have an Su-27 directly on R6, and we are just gonna try to engage him. Now, is this the smartest thing? Probably not. But as I said, the same thing with AA, I'm trying to have fights in this game. I'm trying to play the game. So we merge with this guy, we multi-pad his missiles, we go underneath him, and the second you get past the nose of that Su-27, it's game over. Now he's a lot faster than us, so at this point he can still run away, and our Python trees are probably not going to be touching him anytime soon, especially from this range when we're flying directly into the sun. We radar slave it, and we are basically just shooting him for free at this point. Now he turns this Cobra button on, and yeah, it doesn't work. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.